I'm Ernie Humphrey, Educational Programs Leader for Performative, the largest online community for corporate finance, accounting, treasury, and related leaders. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar, Driving Performance Management Anytime, Anywhere, Leveraging EPM Mobile Solutions. Performance management has gone mobile with SAP's EPM Unwired. This mobile solution delivers valuable financial insights to employees on the move, providing intuitive access to information and analysis, accelerating key business cycle times in planning and forecasting, and allowing people to collaborate and respond in real time. In today's PC Plus world, these apps allow people to work seamlessly with key EPM solutions, all the way from their desktops to the mobile device of their choice, all with security based on role and end user. Today we'll discover how you can drive mobile performance management in your organization leveraging SAP's EPM Unwired. I would like to thank SAP, whose commitment to thought leadership helps us make this webinar possible and delivered at no cost. A quick note on today's agenda. First, we'll hear a presentation from our featured speaker. Then we'll move to an interactive Q&A session where we'll spend the remainder of our hour. We'd like this to be an interactive experience for you, so if you have any questions at any time, please go to the questions area in your GoToWebinar control panel and send us your questions. We can't promise to get all of them in, but we'll do our best, and we'll follow up afterwards with any questions we did not get to. A few more logistical notes about the webinar today. A link to today's presentation and video recording of the webinar we sent out to all attendees in 24 hours of the event. Please note today's webinar includes a tech demo, and as such is not eligible for CPE credit. Again, we encourage you to ask questions on today's topic via the questions box in your GoToWebinar control panel at any time during the webinar. Finally, we ask to take a short survey today regarding the webinar. We'd greatly appreciate your feedback regarding our event today, as we always strive to improve the ROI we offer our event attendees for their valuable time. A quick word about Performative. Performative is the largest online community and resource for senior-level corporate finance, accounting, treasury, and related leaders. Performative connects corporate finance leaders to provide instant advice and insights on the tough financial and strategic challenges they face each and every day. Okay, let's get started by introducing today's featured speaker, Elizabeth Milne, Director, SAP. Elizabeth has over 15 years of experience improving the software solutions for multinational, multi-billion-dollar organizations. Her finance career began working at Walt Disney, then Warner Brothers in the areas of consolidation, budgeting, and financial reporting. She subsequently moved to the software industry and has held positions including implementation consultant manager, account executive, pre-sales consultant, and working as part of the solution management team at SAP Business Objects and Cartesius. In 2008, she graduated with an executive MBA from Northwestern University's Kellogg Graduate School of Management. With that, it is my distinct pleasure to hand the floor over to Elizabeth Milne from SAP. Elizabeth, please take it away for us.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us today, and I'm really excited to share with you the different mobile solutions that SAP has to offer. So, in the area of enterprise performance management, so let's start off with a broad overview and discuss exactly what is enterprise performance management. So at SAP, we've organized enterprise performance management into 3 different pillars. First is increasing organizational alignment and agility, then also helping the enterprise make better decisions that drive profitability, and then lastly we've got deliver a faster, more reliable close-to-disclose process. So in a matter of bullet points and what that actually means for your organization, so increasing your organizational alignment, this is all about setting and translating the strategy. Strategize and plan, create plans, create budgets, forecasts, all that kind of stuff. So taking that cascading aspect of creating the top-level plan and then creating your lower-level plans underneath that as well. So high-level targets and then being able to cascade that out into your different plans, whether or not they're sales forecasts, headcount forecasts, operational plans, all that kind of good stuff. Second, after you do your strategize and plan, is you help your organizations make better decisions that drive profitability. So you want to be able to analyze and optimize. Analyze the different performance, model and optimize profitability. So looking at the profitability of your customers, of your different stakeholders, and figuring out where that you can make better decisions so in order to focus better, in order to become more profitable. And then lastly, we've got the close process, the close to disclose process, as our analysts out there are popularly calling it. This is your financial consolidation, closing down your books, then running your consolidations, and then running the report. So this includes intercompany, disclosure management, all that kind of good stuff as well too. So at the end of the day, you need to prepare your consolidated financial statements both for management and for regulatory purposes. That's an area where we find that our customers sometimes get confused, is that yes, disclosure and being able to report to the SEC and to report to the different regulatory arms out there is certainly important. I mean, not only important, but it's a legal requirement as well. But that's one aspect of it. It's the internal reporting as well, too. Folding in these above two pieces is being able to get that profitability reporting, be able to do your actual versus budget versus plan. That internal, that management reporting, the internal reporting is where you really, as an organization, be able to make those decisions in order to make your company more profitable and drive growth. Being able to provide those numbers and that information externally is obviously important for investment purposes, for matters of being able to get capital, and a number of different aspects. But this whole process of enterprise performance management is not only external but internal as well at the same time. So this is the overall enterprise performance management, EPM, as we love our acronyms at SAP. So what does that translate into at SAP here? We've got enterprise performance management then as we build this out a little bit more. And now we've got this wheel that's coming around, and if we think about it from the SAP standpoint then, we've got enterprise performance management, and these are the different products then that fall underneath EPM within the SAP world. So we've got SAP strategy management and the SAP business planning and consolidation. And then underneath that, next coming along, we've got analyze and optimize, which is going to be the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation, which is very popularly known out there as BPC. And then we've got the SAP Profitability and Cost Management, our BI solution, the Business Object Suite that's out there. And then lastly here, we work into the close to disclose. So there's a number of different solutions then that fall in between the close and disclose. And so with all of these different suite of solutions that's here, these have all been traditionally on-premise solutions. And what SAP has been working towards is being able to create that mobile interface. So why is mobile important then? So you need to be able to have the better, quicker answers for finance. And it's all about mobile, being able to get access to that information anywhere, anytime. So real time, being able to know that whatever information that I have in my enterprise performance management system, that I have the ability to get to that real time, no matter where I am, whether or not I'm on my iPad or whether or not I'm in the office or outside of the office, being able to get there, being able to accelerate to enable planning and forecasting, real-time operational data as well too, and then also being able to collaborate to be able to do different what-if scenarios as well, working with large volumes of data, etc. So the 3/4 apps that I'm going to walk through today and give you a demo of is going to be, number one is the SAP EPM Unwired, and that has two flavors underneath it. So we've got Enterprise Insight and then Planning and Consolidation reports. Next, we've got the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation Starter Kit for Mobile Financial Results Insight. And then lastly, we're going to talk through the SAP Citizen Insight. So starting off with SAP EPM Unwired, so what this solution here allows you to do is really be able to get access to the SAP EPM solutions with a mobile device. Mobility continues to be a major focus of investment for the EPM applications themselves as part of SAP in general, our mobile-first strategy. Today, the data that's stored in the EPM applications, and in some cases the EPM applications themselves, can be accessed on all of the major mobile devices. This then allows users to be untethered from their desktops and be able to provide business answers anywhere, anytime, which is great. So this first version, which has come out earlier on this year, enables customers to monitor their corporate strategic goals through the use of Enterprise Insight, as well as view the BPC, the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation web reports, and then also modify the BPC, the Business Planning and Consolidation input schedules from a mobile device as well too. So moving forward, Well, the EPM applications will continue to invest in the mobility platform, working with the Sybase Unwired platform and the analytics teams to build custom applications to provide further functionality for our EPM, our enterprise performance management user base itself. So the EPM Unwired solution, a couple screenshots that you see here, is giving you support for the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation, BPC. And then Enterprise Insight then is a interface with our strategy management solution here as well. This is all three of the applications that I'm going to walk through today are all available now on the App Store, and you have the ability to go in and check those out right now. Excuse me. All right, let's start with the EPM Unwired for business planning and consolidation. So what this does is from a description standpoint, it allows you to review planning and budgeting information and initiate analysis and corrective action, respond to alerts, status updates, all that kind of good stuff as well too. One of the great things about this new EPM with the planning and consolidation is that it allows write back. So SAP Business Objects, mobile devices have been around for a few years now, and having the ability to render reports and pull data out from a BI standpoint in a read-only mode has been something that's been available for a while now. Now, what's great about the EPM Unwired for business planning and consolidation is that now you have the capability to do write back. So not only pull the information out and render it in a dashboard form and be able to look at it, but it actually allows you to go in and change the numbers. So back to that what-if scenarios that I was talking about, you can put in different drivers and those types of things through the mobile device and being able to update that. Broader adoption from a benefits aspect here, access to reports for input and output as well too. So the SAP Business Planning 10.0 as I talked about, and then also the SAP EPM Unwired, which is free with the download as well. The SAP EPM Unwired for Enterprise Insight then, what this allows you to do is to provide at a glance a view of different performance results that are, you can see on the top right over here, the different tiles that are up here. It allows you to create and publish different dashboards, which I'll show you in a second here, looking at different goals and initiatives, and then also KPIs as well too. Also allows you to deliver the textual explanations, which is great. These are what we're calling key messages, which I'll show you in a second here, but it's a nice value add here. Actually, you can see it down here in the bottom here, where we've got decline in financial efficiency. I'll show you this live on the iPad here in just a second. So then give you the ability to, excuse me, publishing performance goals as well to be able to look at those, and then again, it just provides transparency. SAP Strategy Management 10.0, Service Pack 4 or higher, and then the SAP Unwired. So now let's get to the demo here, and let me see if I can get my fancy iPad software working here. Let's see here. There we go. I think you all can see my iPad right now. So let's see. So down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the SAP BI. We can also see SAP EPM, and then we can see our Citizen Insight as well in the bottom right-hand corner. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to go into the SAP EPM here. So as you can see here on the left, we've got the Enterprise Insight, and then on the right, we've got the planning and consolidation that's listed here. Okay, so let's start off that it's a single container, which is nice here, that allows you access to multiple SAP EPM applications, being in this case right now strategy management and SAP business planning and consolidation. The plans are to grow this more and more as time goes on. So let's start by looking into the SAP Enterprise Insight here. And so now you can see that it's easy to consume access to the different key metrics across the organization. So the different tiles as they manage it here. With this user interface, it enables different organizations to easily communicate and engage with both internal and external stakeholders as well. So I'll talk you through when we get to Citizen Insight how you can work with external stakeholders as well as internal stakeholders using this type of a mobile device. But for the purposes of this, let's talk through as an internal aspect. What I want to do then is click on the finance tile there in the top, and from there then we'll be able to bring in and see different KPIs. You can see on the top. Objectives is the tab that we're on right now, KPIs as well as initiatives that are listed here. And then over here is the key messages that I'd mentioned beforehand. So you've got the decline in financial efficiency. So what's nice about this is that you can put verbiage along with this, not only just the numbers themselves, but put a little bit of context around it to be able to understand it a little bit better as well too. So let's see here. Sorry, give me 1 second. So in order to move back and forth, if I look on the decline in facing challenges, what I'm doing on my iPad now is just swiping back and forth in this area where you've got the facing the challenges now. Like right here, if I just swipe back and forth, I can go through. I can add more than one as well that's listed in here, if that's what's so needed for me as well too. Additionally, we've got the different objectives that are listed here, and with that you can also flip through and see the different KPIs then that are associated with the different objectives, and you can see different initiatives as well too that are in line with those specific objectives as well too. So there's the initiatives, and then you can see, so initiatives are going to be action plans in order to make the initiatives, right, or action plans in order to see, in order to impact your objectives and impact your KPIs as well too. So going back to our objectives as well here, we can see that drive profitable growth that's listed here. On the bottom then, you can see the different associated KPIs. And using this little drop down as well here, as you can see, we can pick, now I've got revenue, net income, gross margin percentage, operating percentage, profit margin. So if I click on profit margin, then it'll go through and it'll update my graph automatically based on the different KPIs, which is nice. So if we look on here on our KPIs, then sorry, give me 1 second. So then if we look through here on our different KPIs, we can see that being able to, one of the things that we want to do is that in order to impact our operating margin, then to reduce, we want to increase our revenue and decrease our expenses and those types of things as well too. So before taking different action, I want to see what the different initiatives are that are in place. So we clicked on the initiatives that we looked at as well too. We can create new initiatives if we want to, and then we can see that we need to take different additional actions in order to meet our different objectives. So from this standpoint, one of the things that we can do as well is that we can go in and look at the business planning and consolidation. So we go back here and look at our planning and consolidation reports, then we have the ability to go in and actively manage our expenses through using the planning and consolidation tool. So what's nice about going through with the BPC here is that the BPC, the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation Administrator, they can control access to which schedules and which reports are accessible via the iPad, and then they're also able to define very specific input schedules available via the iPad. So this is extremely important because it allows organizations to enable input from a large group of people without providing full access to the full-on planning application as it exists. So from here, I'm going to click on the operating expenses schedule, and then this will pull up my operating expenses, and then it'll give me then the ability to view the operating expenses. So from here, you can look at all the different accounts that make up the different operating expenses, and I have the ability to collapse it down to just the total operating expenses, or I can expand it back out again too in order to see all of the different ones. I can see I've got January, February, and March coming across here, so I can collapse that in as well and just look at the quarter collapsed in, which is nice. it gives me that good flexibility as well to come in and out also. So in order to reduce my expenses, if I wanted to go in here for my forecast aspect and reduce my expenses, I can scroll down a little bit here and find my travel expenses, for example. Here's my travel and entertainment that's on the bottom line over here. And that, in this case right here, what I can do is so I can highlight these right here. Start with my January 2015. Highlight all of these three across the bottom here. And then tap on there. And you can see in a second with the latency where it's going to come up, and it says copy, cut, and multiplier. I can click on multiplier that's there, and then this pop-up will come up here, and it'll allow me to go in and say, okay, I can input a value across the three of these as well, or if I hit the percentage that's right there, then type in 75% and say done. Then that gives me the ability that it's going to update those numbers, as you can see underneath here. And then I have the option under the undo and the save as well too. So as you can see, that 151 under there, those numbers then have all been reduced by 25%. One other aspect here I wanted to show you here. Let's undo that. I don't want to save that back. You have the ability to go through and do some annotation on this and email it. So what I did here is I pulled down on this little arrow thing up here, and then as you can see, I clicked on that little arrow up there, and from here I can say annotation. It's going to tell me my orientation. It's going to become locked. Then I can click on this little guy right up here and be able to come up with a pen, and then I have the ability to put a circle then around something as I want here, and then I can email a screenshot of this particular screen out to anybody that I want. So it's a nice flexible tool that allows you to input this information from the iPad itself and then share it back as well too. So being able to work both with the enterprise insight with that strategy, and then being able to go impact your forecast and say, okay, these are the actions that I'm going to take based on that strategy that I was looking at beforehand. Okay, so now I'm going to say done. We're going to go say back, and then I'm going to come back to my main screen, flip back over to my presentation here for a second. Here we go, demo, and now we're going to move on to our next step. So the next step here is the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation Starter Kit for Mobile Financial Results Insight. So what's different about this, as opposed to the EPM Unwired that we were looking at, is that what this is the starter kit, which is pre-configured reports that allow you to connect directly with the SAP BPC, the Business Planning and Consolidation Solution. And so the purpose of this with the Financial Results Insight is really it's meant to give CFOs and different finance people that are out there visibility into their close process during the actual close process itself, right? So you've got that last mile of finance where as you're running consolidations and updating things, you need quick access into the information that's there. And so the CFOs, as they're working with their finance teams, they want to know wherever they are, anywhere, anytime, how that update is going. And so what SAP done is here is created a number of different reports, which is based off of a starter kit that SAP has created for the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation. So what it is it works with the starter kit for the BPC. Starter kit has pre-configured reports, input schedules, calculations, currency translation, helps you with all of that, sets up all of those business roles, and allows you to be up and running quickly with the BPC application itself. And then you can use this starter kit, which combines the Business Objects Mobile here in combination with the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation, and allows you to produce these reports here as well too. Current and constant currency is mentioned up here on the top as well too. It allows you to have a number of these reports that are all pre-configured and ready to go. Now, because it is a starter kit, it does give you the ability to add or change the information it's listed up there. So with that, let's go into a demo. And there we go. So you can go onto the App Store right now and download the SAP BI. So the SAP BI is down here right in the middle here, right? This little green guy here. If I click on that, then there's a application gallery then, which allows you to see this is the SAP Financial Results Insight, and there's test and demo data that's in there. So you can go in and look at these reports for free right now just to get a flavor of them and see how interested you are in them and how much they may apply to your organization. You can see on this drop-down up here, here's all of the reports then that are all pre-configured for this starter kit itself. So right now we're looking at revenue. I can click on profit and loss, which comes down right after that. You can see this has got actual versus budget data, which is great. Coming across here, I've got actual year -1, so last year's information, year over year, actual and percentage. And then if I swipe and scroll over a little bit more over here too, then it's going to give you the ability to look at the organic growth, so what's come through acquisition and what has come through acquisition. You can look at the different rate effect in percentages as well, so what are the impacts on the changes in my currency here as it over time, and then also my scope effect. So my scope meaning which entities am I going to consolidate at which percentages and how that's changed over time. So it really allows you to help by running these different consolidations, the different what-ifs and those types of things, by running this year's actual budget rates and being able to really isolate the differences in currency exchange rates as opposed to just your pure numbers there on what's changed year over year. We go back in here as well too, and I have the ability to go in and look at some cash flow information as well too. So using the starter kit for the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation, it sets up the chart of accounts and it creates a dimension that we call a flow dimension, which allows you to input your increases and decreases in your various balance sheet accounts in order to say what's changed. So that when you're looking here, you've got your net cash flow from operating activities, investing, and financing activities. And you have the ability to open these and, you have the ability to go in and look at the different levels here. So then the, I've lost my network connectivity. We'll bounce back real quick right there. Sorry about that. And then you have the ability to look at the different cash flows. So I can open this up similar to what we were looking at with the planning and consolidation as well too. So being able to see the different things that roll up underneath there as well too. So here you can see the proceeds from, give it one second, there we go. Give it the proceeds from the sales as well as the short-term investments and securities as well. And so all of these then are pre-configured. What's nice too, you can see the little waterfall chart here on the cash at the beginning and what's the different things that have impacted that as well too. You can look at your portfolio as well here too. And as I mentioned beforehand, you want to look at which entities you're consolidating and at what percentages you're consolidating them at. So it allows you to see which ones are holding companies, which ones are a full consolidation, and you can see these different percentages. You can see it period over period as well too. So it really gives you insight into there to see how your consolidation is being created. Other different key financial indicators as well with some nice pretty graphs that we're going to look at here that allows you to look at your different trending over time. You do have the capabilities to go in and adjust these. So these are the ones that come out of the box. But just being a finance user, you can come in here and using the Business Objects Webby reporting, you have the capability to create new reports as well too. So there's all of these reports that are listed here, and then it has the ability to go in and just add additional reports or adjust these reports as makes sense for you. Additionally, we've got a nice glossary that's listed here. I mean, this just specifically talks about revenue and net income and talks about what the account number is, and then here we've copy and pasted out of Investopedia the definition of what that account is. But it's nice because you can communicate out with your different stakeholders on what's important. Tax impact is another thing with the tax reporting that we've added into this report here too, which allows you to see the different taxes with the net income, looking at the different entities that are listed out here as well too. So all these are all pre-configured reports then that allow you to go in and take a look at where you are during your closing process. All right, so that's the SAP Financial Results Insight. And let's pop back over to my presentation. And lastly, come in here and talk about the SAP Citizen Insight. So what the SAP Citizen Insight is it allows you to publish your performance goals and results to your individual citizens and key constituents. It looks into different visibility on how your tax dollars are being spent, different fees or investments that are being viewed. So the benefits here is to provide at a glance a view of the performance results with the scorecard and the tile view, be able to create and publish dashboard views, organizational goals, initiatives, and KPIs. And now you're probably thinking, wait a second, goals, initiatives, KPIs, that's what we were looking at with the Enterprise Insight. And you are right. And so this specific Citizen Insight was built for the public sector based off of the Enterprise Insight. So it looks very familiar from this aspect of it. Also with the text, it has the key messages there. And the prerequisite here is the Strategy Management 10.0. And one of our best examples of this are our case studies where we have customers that are out there and using this is, let me jump back into my demo here. Let's see. There's our Fin Insight. And we jump over here, and in the bottom right-hand corner here, you can see the Citizen Insight. So Citizen Insight here, pop that open, and again, for the public sector, we've got a showcase of sites here, which is going to be the City of Boston. And so the City of Boston is a great customer of ours. And here, if I click on the City of Boston over here, this is familiar to the insight that Enterprise Insight that we were looking at beforehand too. So the Boston About Results, Performance Management, what this allows the citizens of Boston to do is to download this app and be able to look in real time into all these different tiles that are out there. So as I mentioned before, you've got the different constituents that are out there and they want to know how things are going. And then what this does is it allows people to have better faith in their government and better confidence and better understanding of how things are going. So if we look in under the police under here as well too, you can see that here we've got we've got new officers on the streets, as you can see listed here. Then we can look at good scientific decisions lead to the identification of the Boston Strangler. And then we've also got the Boston PD social media leads the nation here. So, and you can see, as it mentioned here, that during the Boston Marathon bombing response for the Boston PD, they really used social media quite a bit in order to, to trace down things. And so being able to see all of this stuff real time within the iPad and such. So you've got different strategies here to focus on and address the quality of life and concerns. Then you've got different measures on things that you can look at here, the number of residents in the groups, different calls for service, etc., that are listed here. And also you have the ability to put different links here, which is nice in here as well too. So you can link to any external sites that are listed here. So it's real, this is a real fun example about Boston themselves and how they're really leveraging this real time today, being able to share this information out with their constituents that are out there. All right, so let me jump back over into my presentation here. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much the summary of the three different apps that we were looking at. We've got the EPM Unwired that we looked at that's got the business planning and consolidation, and we've also got the strategy management, the Enterprise Insight, And then we've got the SAP Financial Results Insight, and then lastly we've got the Citizen Insight as well too. So if you're looking for more information on any of these here, you can look on sapcfo.com, which has got a number of different information not only around enterprise performance management, but also around CFO and financial leadership, which is great. So there's a lot of good links on solution briefs and all that kind of good stuff that's listed out there. We do, specifically for enterprise performance management, have a website that you can go out there too, solution briefs, demos, customer stories, all that kind of fun stuff that's out there as well too. We've got a monthly finance newsletter as well that talks about what's new with SAP also. And then in today's world, who wouldn't be complete with a little bit of social media? So we're on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, and there's a number of, there's an EPM playlist that's listed here under YouTube, but all of these apps that I just talked about and did a demo of, they all have on YouTube. They have little recordings on the SAP Financial Results Insight as well as the Unwired. So you've got, if you, for any of these apps that we have right here, if you just go to YouTube and just search on them, you have the ability to go in and see a short little recorded video. So if whatever I showed you here wasn't sufficient, there's about 3 to 5 minutes on each one of those solutions that I talk about here that are out on YouTube. So it's a good place to look and to find things as well too. So with that, I believe we'll open it up for Q&A.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for that great content. With that, we'll open the Q&A session. Again, I encourage everyone to please ask questions today. Today's topic via the questions area in your GoToWebinar control panel. First question, Elizabeth. How do these solutions relate to the SAP Rapid Deployment Solutions?
Oh, that's a great question. So the SAP Rapid Deployment Solutions that are out there, I showed you the SAP Financial Results Insight. And so that solution works very closely with our SAP Financial Close and Disclosure Management Rapid Deployment Solution. So what the RDS, for those of you who are not familiar with the Rapid Deployment Solutions are, is that they're prepackaged content. So I talked about how the Financial Results Insight is the starter kit. And what the RDSs are, the Rapid Deployment Solutions are, is that they take that pre-configured content and then they couple with it a fixed scope services implementation as well too. So you've got everything ready to go. You buy the software, you get you get the services, and you get the pre-configured content. And so the starter kit that I mentioned with the SAP Financial Results Insight is part of our SAP Financial Close and Disclosure Management Rapid Deployment Solution.
Okay, great. As far as the applications are concerned, are there any costs or add-on costs associated with the applications you discussed at all?
Yep, great question as well too. As mentioned, every app that I showed you today is free. You can go into the App Store right now and download any of them free of cost. Now, that being said, in order to make them work, I mean, besides in demo mode like we just showed right here, you need to be licensed on an SAP EPM solution. So either business planning and consolidation for the EPM Unwired or for the Financial Results Insight, or for the SAP Strategy Management Solution for the Enterprise Insight, or for the Citizen Insight as well too. So as long as you've got the EPM solution and you've got the BI licenses, the SAP Business Objects Business Intelligence licenses to go along with it, then the actual apps themselves then are free. And again, you can go download them right now and just take a quick peek at them.
Okay, so let me follow up on that question. So there has to be a correlation between access, having the app, and then the number of licenses that you have associated with the different apps. So there has to be an app for each individual user who's going to have a specific account using their, for example, their iPad to access the data on the back end?
Yeah, correct. So if you're going to be a person who's going to link to your personal live information in your organization, you need to be licensed on BPC, for example, the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation. So if you have the app and you want to access the information that's in your application, then you need to have a license to that application. The application meaning the on-premise solution itself. That makes sense. Not to get confused with apps and applications. Is that clear?
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Can you tell us, I know we focused on the iPad, which is great. Are there any other mobile devices that are supported at this time?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We're working on it right now. We are right now, everything that I've showed you right now is running on the iPad. It's running iOS 5.0, and Plus is supported right now. We're hoping and we're working on right now to add Android and Windows 8 in the next release, but I'm still not sure on timing on that. So yeah, right now it's just the iPad, and the other ones we're hoping will be coming shortly.
Okay, great. Can you share with us which BA product was used to really build the financial results insight piece?
Yeah, so we used the SAP Business Objects Web Intelligence and the SAP Business Objects Mobile. So that was the SAP BI app, that's the Business Objects Mobile, and then we accessed what's commonly known as Webby reports, the SAP Business Objects Web Intelligence.
Okay, thanks. As far as a related question on the financial results insight, are there any IT or coding skills needed to kind of customize that or enrich that at all?
Yeah, no, that's a great question as well, too. We get that all the time. As I mentioned, so we looked at all those reports, the list of reports that were out there that come with it. In order to add new reports or modify the reports that are out there to change them, what's nice about them is that you're not required to have a whole lot of IT background. You need to know how to use Webby, and Webby is designed to be used by the finance user. So with a quick tutorial on how to use Webby, you're not going to be writing Java or coding or HTML or nothing where you're actually coding anything. It's drag and drop kind of a Windows interface that's easy to use for the business user, and it's not meant for the IT user. So, which is nice about these because these are all meant for the Office of Finance solutions. So, great question.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Sure. I got a question about the SAP Citizen Insight app. So, for example, for the city of Boston, do they have to give access to people specifically, or is that just an app where it's basically public information at that point?
It's public information is the way I understand it, that if you're a citizen of Boston, you can go and you can download it and look at it right now.
Okay, I think the person was just trying to get at controlling access to that piece of it.
Oh yeah, so you can set it up so that to that point though, that this specific one for the one that Boston set up is meant to be for the public. Now that being said, that all the different tiles that we were looking at that are there, you can set up access so it's not public, and that for your particular application that you need a specific logon, let's say, in order to get on there, and that you can definitely minimize the amount of access that you can. Boston happens to want it to be public, because that's the whole point of what they're doing. But if you have KPIs within your organization that you don't want to share, that it's got the full security around any of our EPM solutions, which allows you to not only give access to different, as I was talking about with like the SAP planning and consolidation, similar to the insight there, is that you can set up who's got access to which of the tiles that are on there, as well as you can set it up by different types of dimensions, so meaning that you can set it up by entity, so or different divisions, let's say. So if I've got different divisions who want different access, when they log on, it will only give them access to the information that they have access to. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I have a question around, and maybe you can shed some insight on maybe the best way that this might be being used or might be used in the future. So as far as possibly giving access to auditors so you can interact with auditors in a mobile environment, do you have firms that are actually doing this, and then how is that security set up? Would an auditor need a license back, or how would firms do that?
Yeah, that's a good question as well, too. So in order to set up an auditor to have access to the information, so like, say, for example, with the financial results insight, that has most of the auditor type of information that it's in there, it would need to be set up as a named user. So you would need to create an auditor named user and have them licensed on the software itself. Then with that specific user, you can give them access to only certain reports or certain dashboards, or, as mentioned beforehand, different divisions too, as well, too. I, off the top of my head, don't know of anybody who's doing it. That doesn't mean there aren't any, but I can look into that a little bit more. But it's certainly a good use case that's certainly possible.
Okay, great. And again, this is a kind of another question related to information access. Do you see potentially publicly traded companies possibly using maybe the SAP Citizens Insight to communicate with the investment community at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see any reason why not. I think that that's definitely the way that's going to be going down the road. I mean, not just only publishing a PDF of your annual report on your website, but being able to set up things like this to be able to have investors go in and quickly online, either with Citizen Insight or with the Financial Results Insight. Actually, almost all the apps we looked at today would be something that you could use to set up externally as well, too. I guess I'm thinking as I'm talking, I think one of the rubs there would be as far as access is concerned, I think, because as of right now, the way the licensing is set up is that if you have to have a named user in order to get to this access, so in order from a public standpoint, that would be a lot of people to pay for the licenses for the software. But I'm sure with the BI, I think that that's the way that it's headed. Is it something that I don't think is being executed right now? I'm not sure. Well, I guess with the Citizen Insight, I'm sorry, I'm talking and thinking at the same time. But yeah, with the Citizen Insight, then it's certainly something that could work as well, too. Does that answer your question? I rambled a little bit, sorry.
No, that's fine. I guess the question was around where do you see this head, and they were thinking, a way to communicate with the investment community, so they could stay on top of things, with their mobile apps as well.
Right.
As far as a little bit about a couple of the apps. So we were looking at the budgeting and planning data, and you kind of clicked in. Is it possible to really drill down, into the specifics, into those specific cells? Could you speak to that functionality?
Yeah, so there are limitations. So as I was showing a little bit, I think you saw with the arrows, I showed it on the cash flow statement on Financial Results Insight, and then also when I was looking at planning and consolidation, I said I folded it up all the way top to the operating expenses and then blew it back out again. So you have the ability within that report as it's set up to be able to roll down into the level of detail that exists right there. Now, that being said, we're not at a point yet where you can go directly from your mobile device right into your transactional SAP level as well. I think that's probably something that's coming next. But what you can do is that you can look at this information on your mobile device, and then you can go look in your BPC solution, and then from there drill down into the transactional detail. So you can drill down to a certain level, but not necessarily down to the very lowest transactional level that's going to be in your ERP or anything like that. But you can set it up so that you can drill down quite a bit within the mobile devices itself.
Okay, great. I think this might be a clarification question. So if someone's using the mobile device, are they actually able to push that data back to the application and make that live as far as more or less a system of record, so to speak?
So let's take the system of record out for a second and then get back. So let's start with the write back, actually. So the write back, the great thing about the EPM Unwired is it is one of the first solutions that we have that allow you to write back into an EPM solution. So what I showed you with the planning and consolidation, we were looking at the plan specifically, right? Looking at the travel expenses. So if I wanted to change that in my forecast or my plan, and then I wanted to write that back to the application, it has the capability to write that back. Now, it will write that back to the forecast or the plan that I have there. If I want to be collecting information, actual information, using the iPad and being able to write that into my consolidation system, my enterprise performance management consolidation system, yes, that allows you to write back from that aspect. These applications don't allow you to write back. When you say system of record, that's where it gets a little bit trickier. If your consolidation system is your system of record, then yes, it allows you to write back to there. But if you're using like ECC or the SAP ERP, this specific solution doesn't allow you to write back to it, but there are a number of other applications that are out there that allow you to record transactional purposes. Like we've got travel and expense recording and a number of different apps that are out there as well, treasury, fraud management, lots of different things that allow you to get a sense of that lowest level of detail. But specifically to the question of does the application itself write back to the EPM applications itself, the answer to that is yes.
Okay, great. I guess I don't know if you can really get into this question too much, but there's a question around the the amount of information being pushed as far as your data usage goes. Are there, I mean, I guess you kind of mentioned it, there's limitations on how far that you can drill down. I guess the question is around data consumption. So, so how is that managed, or if someone wants to use this, are they going to have to really bump up the amount of data they're allowed to download?
I think from a data usage standpoint, it's working with the SAP Business Intelligence, so the BobJ aspect that's there. So pretty much being able to access anything that's in your enterprise performance management system would be something that, from a data usage standpoint, that would be simple to use. Once you start getting out of the realm of the enterprise performance management solutions, that's when you're going to get, I think, beyond scope on that there. But anything, you've got real-time access here from whatever in these mobile apps back into your enterprise performance management apps. So what you're limited by is what's in your enterprise performance management apps themselves.
Okay, great. As far as kind of adding this mobile layer, is there any data security risk added on that side? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, no, that's one of the things. We get that question quite a bit as well, too. And one of the nice things about it is that the way all these apps are set up so that they're integrated tightly with the enterprise performance management is that all the security is the same. So when you set up a user in your enterprise performance management solution saying they have access to this information, that's the same access that they get when they go to the mobile aspect as well, too. So you're not losing any level of security by putting this mobile front on the end of it, because it leverages that same security that's set up within the enterprise performance management apps as well, too.
Okay, great. It's just, I don't know if this is a question as far as the app goes. So there's really no, I would say, setup or implementation side as far as leveraging these apps once they're downloaded. So there's no IT involved in really leveraging these apps, as long as you have the necessary SAP access on the other side.
That's correct, but let me be clear on, so the SAP Financial Results Insight, those reports all come out of the box and you don't need to do anything. So if you're happy with those reports as they are, then you're good to go and those already exist. If you want to add reports, you need to know how to use SAP Business Objects. So you need to know how to use Webby in order to add on to that aspect. So all that, since it's a starter kit, that all comes out of the box. Flipping back over to the Enterprise Insight, so we were looking at the Citizens Insight, right, like that Boston app as well, too. Setting up those original tiles in the first place involves a little bit of IT involvement as well, too. But if we want to look at the SAP Business Planning and Consolidation, creating a report for the SAP EPM Unwired is very similar to creating the reports within the BPC themselves. So you need to know how to do configuration, but not coding. So it's not super IT technically involved, and we typically find that it's going to be our finance power users are going to be the people who are setting up these reports, and very little IT involvement, I think, which is the crux of the question there. So yes, it's more focused for the finance user than it is for the IT user.
Okay, great. So I guess this question comes around on the ability to track. So you mentioned the ability for someone to make changes, and then for those changes to be written back to the budgeting and planning app. Is there the ability to run a report to track who made those changes within the system from the mobile app?
Not from the mobile app, but from the SIC client. So within BPC itself, you would be able to see who changed the information and when, and it is not set up at this point. That functionality doesn't exist on the mobile device yet, but if you went back into the on-premise solution, you'd be able to see who changed it and that somebody using a mobile device had changed it and when they changed it and who changed it and what they changed it from. So all that is tracked. So you don't get that audit report on a mobile device, but I imagine that's going to be coming shortly. But the security is all traced in the on-premise app itself. Okay,
great. Can you give us a little bit more, maybe a little bit more deeper dive, if you have time, to talk about the ability to push out the reports in the mobile app?
Can you clarify the question a little bit more? I mean, you mean technically what it takes to implement it? Is that what you're asking?
So I think the question is around, so it seems like there was the ability to push out reports. So say you're in the mobile app and you change a report or you create a report, is there the ability to push that out via email directly from the app at all?
Oh, right. So I looked at the annotation and that type of thing as well, too. So, yes. So how that, where were you looking at time here? Because I can show you, again, exactly, like using this different annotation button as well. So when we were looking at the reports right there, you have the ability then to email it. I showed you the annotation. I didn't. There is also the email button that's there as well, too. So if you're looking at a report on the mobile, within just using the annotate button, you can send an email of a screen capture of what you're looking at right on your mobile device directly from the app itself. So it doesn't, I mean, it requires the initial setup of setting up, integrating with your email and that type of a thing. But once it's set up and ready to go, the ability to email that report and send it out to other people is relatively simple.
Great. Thank you very much. We're going to have time for one more question, then we'll have a few closing comments. Appreciate all your patience with all of our questions, Elizabeth. Can you tell us what kind of the question is, what's next on the application front?
So that's a great question. And so what's coming next is, as you saw with I showed you 3 different apps. And I think what's coming next more so is going to be migrating them all together and not having separate apps, but having that one bucket there where we have the SAP planning and consolidation and also the insight within one bucket as well, too. I think that as of right now, we do have the ability to pull the information out, so we were looking at that. And then you have the ability to do write back also right now. I think some of the things that are probably coming shorter down the line is the ability to do more stuff like run allocations or to run consolidations or do more of the administrative tasks. I think that those are things that we're looking at hopefully next year being able to get more of that coming within the enterprise performance management.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. We'd like to thank Elizabeth for her time and insights. She's clearly a thought leader in this field and an excellent source of information on today's topics. Note, in the post-webinar survey, you'll have the opportunity to express your interest in being connected with her and our sponsor, SAP, with just one or a few clicks of your mouse. Again, one more time, you're prompted to take a short survey once the webinar concludes. We greatly appreciate your feedback regarding today's event. We'd like to thank today's sponsor again, SAP. Also like to take just a moment, as we have a few moments left, to mention that registration for the second annual Performance Tech Conference is now available. So the purpose of the conference is all about allowing companies of all sizes to embrace this corporate finance technology revolution to drive results across the enterprise. Finally, thank you to the audience for your valuable time. We hope to see you again soon at another Performative event or online at www.performative.com. Make the rest of your day great, everyone. Thank you very much.